It's time for another edition of the Buck Junkie Podcast, guys. Y'all ready to go today?
Ready to go.
I think so.
You think so? It's the new year, Mark. New year, new you.
Man, new you, I don't know where that's at, but maybe new year.
That's what I figured the main topic today we were going to talk about is, we're kind of getting towards the end of deer season. We got a new year to deal with. We want to talk about, how our year went a little bit, the goals that kind of we had and how we want to finish up strong. But before we get into that, I figured we'd talk about last week's episodes. That was our first one back. Jamie, you brought – it was your week. Come up with something. You got Darrin to come in. We talked squirrel hunting and river hunting and all that.
Island hunting, eating while we squirrel hunt. We had a lot to catch up on from Christmas to now.
Yeah. That was one thing. It blew my mind, and I've already talked about that, going to the river, going to one of those island clubs on the other side of the levee. You grow up in Mississippi and you hear about people hunting on the other side of the levee. And
it's like the land you don't speak of.
Yeah,
nobody knows about it.
Regular folks don't get to go over there. That's just for rich folks. But it's a whole different world. I mean, Darrin, he described it really well, but he didn't get into the runnings of the club and all that, because isn't he like vice president or something like that?
Yeah, I think he is now. Yeah,
he's on up in one, but he's been in it, man, for how many years?
Wow, I should have bought in when he bought in.
See, he was smart. He got in one of those share clubs. I mean, probably y'all weren't out of high school too long, were you?
Nah, we was out for a little while. But back then it was $25,000 what it was to buy in, and then I think it was maybe $800 or $1,000 a year of dues, which to hunt 10,000 acres, that's not bad.
I know that sounds crazy, but I mean, you think about how much we've invested down there. I mean, if you're by yourself and you don't have that place to go, that's not bad.
I think. Well, the thing about it is, like, you get in one of those clubs, you get in at the right time, your investment goes up.
Oh, when he bought in, looking back, I mean, it was a very good investment. Now you're probably, I talked to him the other day, matter of fact, about a membership. With a membership and a pretty nice cabin, it's going to probably go for $280 to $300.
Yeah, it's a little steep right there. Yeah, that's for a share.
But it's not going down.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll go down.
You're not. I mean,
how much hunting land do you see go down in value?
You're not.
I mean. The only time I've ever seen it go down, like you get hit with blue tongue, it wipes out population or something like that, but it bounces back. I mean,
you look
the
here
real
locally,
estate value of it.
That big place right down there off Getwell, it was what 1.9 is what it sold for, and it's already back on the market for 2.9 now.
Yeah,
went up $1 million. Now, granted, they put in a bunch of work, but still, it didn't go down.
No, it didn't. It's very rarely it goes down.
No, stuff like that. I mean, he's been in a while. He's got 2 memberships, and it'll be. I mean, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
There's no way you can even if you spent $300,000 to buy in, what can you buy acreage wise for $300,000? Not 10,000 acres.
No, because I mean, hunting land. There ain't no cheap hunting land anymore.
No.
You ain't gonna get $1,000 for it.
No.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find $2,500 an acre hunting land now. At least where we are. And I don't know what it's like down South Mississippi or whatever, but around here, I mean, you'd see $750 an acre for some old,
flood zone land goes for more than that now.
But you don't see that anymore.
And you don't see, like when I was a kid, Dad and them had several different leases, all paper mill company, timber company. You don't see that advertised anywhere anymore. I don't know if it's all just tied up now or there's no such thing as it in Mississippi or what.
No, there's still a lot of it, but I think people just jump on it fast.
So
there's some of that, what do they call it, that 16 section land or 9
I think it's
something like that. That's like some schools own, and there's some of these bigger paper companies still have, I forget some of the names of them, but they have land you can go on and bid. It's like a bid situation where you have to put how much you'll give per acre for it. But I think a lot of that's getting taken over by out-of-state people wanting to come to Mississippi to bid, and they're that's how they're getting these big leases.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably do, kind of like, your dad and them had that one place, they find an acre or two close to the property and buy and, kind of settle in, and they plan on leasing that from here on out. A lot of them sign 10-year leases too on that paper mill land, or will.
I think the only thing bad about that's restrictions on it, man. You can't, they don't want you doing food plots. You can't manage anything on the timber. You can't cut anything. Mm-hmm. They don't want you doing any of that stuff. A lot of them you can't even supplemental feed on if feeding's available.
Yeah.
The paper company, like, it wasn't the island like that?
So at
before they bought that.
Yeah, the island owned, I think, 4,000, at least 6 from the timber company. But on the timber company land, no, you cannot supplement feed. You can do food plots, but
only on like the landings and things like that, right? Or the road. You couldn't clear out any trees.
No. If it was an old log landing or skidder road or something like that, yes, you could plant. But as far as you going in and
taking out a few acres.
carrying a mulcher in and taking out something, you couldn't do that.
We're good at that.
Yeah, that's our specialty.
Oh, you talking about the hunting? Man, like I said, I've been watching Seek One, listening to Seek One podcast, and them guys, they're killing 180-inch deer in city limits. That's the way to go.
Yeah, but what you don't say, well, I mean, they talk about it, the hours they put in.
Oh, them guys,
they work 50
now.
and 60 times.
That's a full-time job for them.
That's actually what they do. He said that's what I do.
There's no telling how many cameras those dudes have out monitoring. What do you think their camera bill is?
I heard.
I don't know. He said he had, what did he say? He had 45 cameras.
The one guy on his podcast said he had 36 that goes to his phone.
Can you imagine what that? You can't get alerts on that. I mean,
Bing, 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 bing.
yeah, it'd drive you crazy.
Can you imagine if we had that many?
No, we've got what 6 or 7 we run, and that's
enough.
Half of them don't work.
Yeah, half of half. I mean, I don't.
And that's another thing is like keeping up with that many because I mean these cellular cameras they're great, but I mean you get a year or two out of them, they're done. I mean, especially if you run them year round.
Now I wonder in the city if you get better reception on them because we're out.
Probably
there's not good
got
towers out there, and that's a problem with a lot of them. It's not that the camera ain't working; you just don't have signal
Service
out
support,
there.
Yeah.
But if you're hunting them if you're hunting city deer, I mean, you might have 5G on them. You might
What
get
was it? We'll touch
video.
on this, but he put the camera out at the guy's backyard. It was
So he got permission. He went to this guy, approached him. Guy's like, yeah, you more than welcome. I think it wasn't, but like
2 or 3 acres.
Yeah, it was very, very small inside city limits. He's like, yeah, go put my cameras out. So from what I understand, he approached people first by, hey, I want to, see your deer. He don't walk up there, knock on the door, and like, hey, I want to hunt. He starts out with cameras. Anyway, he approached this guy. The guy's like, man, yeah, come on, you can put cameras out. So he goes, puts the cameras out. Well, then I won't say the next day.
No, it was within the hour. Like he was coming back from putting the camera out.
The guy said, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. He's like, okay, kind of what changed mine. We're coming to find out this guy was some kind of diplomat or something from
He was from another country.
Oh,
and
that country owned that property.
thought he was spying on.
Yeah,
him.
I thought he was a spy. So I mean, it went to
the White House.
yeah. He had to get lawyer. It was it could be scary, I guess, but it's
Yeah,
pretty good.
watch
topic.
where you putting out cameras.
Yeah.
I don't think we got to worry about that down there where we're at.
You ain't spying on nothing down there.
Yeah, don't hang your cameras on foreign property.
yeah, definitely.
Surveillance cameras.
Jamie gave a peep show to the old farmer down there with the camera on the road.
Watch that too. You think you can pull over on the side of the road and take a leak out of your truck and don't have to worry about nothing.
Jamie done started his OnlyFans down in the Delta.
We saw it when we went back by.
All the profile
There's a
pictures
camera
from the
right
waist
there when
down.
Jamie stopped. I mean, it was right in front of it.
Oh, yeah.
You went to the back of the truck where it was pointed at you and everything.
Did you see the one I sent you the other day that you can control with your phone and move? So it's a cellular camera just like we have, but it's on an eye, and you can move it. So like if it's angled wrong, you can turn it with your phone in the field, and it's a little eye that floats around.
Oh, really?
And you can move it like real time.
I have seen those. It's not Ring. This isn't like a game cam company. I think it's like Arlo. I think it's the name of it. But they have cellular security cameras that people are using. And where I saw them using it was like on a goat farm. But it was out. You don't have to have Wi-Fi. It works off cellular signal, and you can do exactly what you're talking about. It's just like, one of those.
It's like your motion detector at home, most camera.
Yeah, but it has like the little pivot on it, like you're talking about, where you can change it. It has better audio, and I don't know what the battery life. They said the battery life's pretty good on them.
See, these, I think their big thing was, which it makes sense, is you're able to mount it higher to where you're not fighting with the sun like we are on some of these.
Yeah.
So you're kind of looking down. So you can mount it up on mount it on your stand or whatever, look down on the food plot a little better.
That's a big problem with ours. You don't realize it, but the sun, as it's hitting the trees and changing shadows and stuff.
Heartbreak, 11:45 is going to go off a dozen times.
For like an hour.
Yeah,
until the sun gets right.
That's
or if the wind's blowing. Like I've noticed one of them, I think it's
and it don't take nothing but
now is advertising the AI detection to where they know it won't even send you something.
Yeah, it won't send you like a false trigger.
Yeah, and you can go in and set parameters like you only want bucks or you want bucks and does. You don't want it to send raccoons or whatever.
I don't know. I would be like it's cutting us out of something. It might be something in the background you're missing.
There's no. I mean, we already know after checking ours or all the time when we pull the cards at the end of the season. There's deer on there that we've never seen because when you trigger them, it's not like they send every single picture. You only set it to send like one each instance or whatever. But it might have 3 pictures it takes.
Yeah.
How many times is it triggered like during the rut where that deer's done run by and it was just you got a 1 second delay.
You didn't see that.
If that deer's stretched out, it's past that food plot. It's gone.
Guarantee it. Speaking of the food plots, they bounced back, or at least the grain plots have bounced back big time.
Yeah, they came back. We got a little rain, a little sun.
That's it. You think winter's gone?
No.
I'm talking about. I want to say next Wednesday there's like a chance of flurries or something.
It's
gonna be 65 today and then
70 tomorrow.
It's 71 tomorrow. Tonight is rain, thunderstorms.
Yeah, we need to go hunting.
And then that's
no joke.
That's what I was telling Malcolm earlier. It's like I said, the next month is gonna be hell. It is gonna get so cold and next month.
That's when we need to start doing stuff. Need to get the line program going. Need to kill some squirrels.
I gotta kill a deer. What are you talking about, a squirrel? I need more meat than a squirrel.
So, Mike, you hunted out of the new ground blind that Mark put out. What'd you think about sitting in it?
Man, it was like one thing I liked about it was like when I got in it, like when I opened the zipper up, it's almost like a Ziploc bag. It don't make any noise. It just kind of slides up. And it's a little tough, but you get a hold of it and
it's like a Yeti bag zipper.
Yeah, I say similar.
No, it's not even a zipper. It's
like,
got
a zipper handle.
It looks like a big Ziploc bag zipper.
Yeah, and it just seals up just like a Ziploc bag.
And you can just go. That's as loud as it is.
No,
I mean, it don't make no noise.
Yeah.
What brand was that?
That's the bog.
It's a bog blind.
Well, yeah, it's a bog blind, but it's a Unveil or Prevail or I can't remember exactly which one it is.
Yeah,
it's it ain't the highest end one. I think it's like the mid-range one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the windows are the same way. I love those windows because you can open and close in with a deer standing out there, and they never.
Yeah, you can open and close the windows pretty easy. It's nothing to it.
The only thing a little funny was the cross members on them a little bit.
Cross members in the windows a little bit.
You got to know where you're gonna put your gun.
Yeah, if you're sitting in that bog chair, you got a tripod that you're setting the gun on. You better make sure that barrel's out that window.
Yeah, or you might shoot a cross member.
You might catch a cross member.
Blow fiberglass everywhere.
Yeah, but sitting in that chair though, that makes it super quiet, doesn't it?
So if you got the chair too, you can sit in there and you put your gun on that arm. You
clamp it in there.
Yeah, you can leave your.
You let go of the gun.
Let go of it. I don't even hold it.
Just don't get out of the chair with the gun.
Well, because of balance.
Yeah, because it's balanced. It's.
Yeah. If you got to stand up,
if you go to stand up,
the floor.
It'll turn over. But as long as you're sitting in it, you're good to go. And you can slide. You can push that arm and push your barrel out the window if you needed to.
Yeah.
Because that's how when I hunted, I only had the windows open 3 or 4 inches, just enough for you to see out, and enough to where you can put the barrel out and the scope still looks down range. It's barely open.
Did you leave like the barrel out the window the whole time, or
the
pivot will come back beside your arm.
The gun was right here.
Oh, so you swing the gun,
and
you got to swing it out the window, I guess.
So if you had it back to your side, you could pretty much pivot your chair everywhere in there, and then just say deer come to your right or left, whatever, pivot that way and open that particular window if you needed to.
How hard is it to line up, like to balance that gun in the holder and get it in there and take it out?
You just set the tension. When you clamp it in, if you got I was shooting automatic shotgun, so it's got an action on it. I just had to make sure that the action wasn't up against the vice part of it.
It's comfortable.
I used to sit in an office before we carried it down there, and hands down,
I was amazed how stable it was. Because like I held my little 350 Legend out the window, and I mean it's like shooting off the bench. I mean it's no movement.
Could you see out of like a box blind with it, or does it not get that tall enough?
I don't know if
made for
you can adjust it.
If I remember right, on the rest you can adjust the rest up and down too,
and you can adjust your seat height.
The chair's got the push pins and legs.
I don't know the Sportsman condos, especially one of the round ones because you have more room out to your side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the little Dixie blinds, like if you were to be in the right hand window, I don't know if you'd have enough room if you were 2 of you in there to run that arm, without it bumping on the side.
Yeah,
that'd be the only thing. But like if it's just you in the blind, you could do it no problem.
But for a ground blind, it works perfect.
That's ideal.
Super comfortable.
Hell, their other little tripod that you let me borrow that day when I hunted the power line.
Oh, just the regular
gun. Regular one is excellent. I mean, you can set it up there, and I sat back and let go of the gun and was just sitting there. Yeah. Behind the gun, and when something came out, I mean, I just leaned up. I kind of set it where I was looking down that power line where I thought they were coming.
So it's a freestanding.
It's a freestanding.
So you could technically pick the stand up, move it left or right.
Yeah, you can.
And it clamps your gun.
You could use it. You could use it for standing up, like if you want a coyote hunt or something. Thermal hunt.
And they have for you can put it on a bolt action. You have to buy the adapter, but they have it to where it'll clamp on a Picatinny rail. So like on your AR, it'll actually lock into it where it can't come out.
Oh,
you clamp it in tight. Then I guess if you changed your eyelet swivel out for like your sling and put the Picatinny style, you could do the same thing on your bolt action rifle.
Yeah.
I'm wanting to look at some of them chairs. Physically challenged hunt. I think they would do well. And
they're comfortable.
They're not a bad. I mean,
because the arms come up, it's easier for a big guy or somebody challenge to get in because you ain't squeezing in it. It's like the arm lift up.
What them chairs run? $299.
I think the one with the rest is like $299 maybe. It's not outrageous. I mean, it's an expensive chair, but I looked at Mr. Charlie. He brought one out that it wasn't a bog brand. I forgot what brand it was. It was similar. It weighed twice as much. Man, that thing was heavy.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't nearly as compact. I mean, it was a nice chair, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as compact,
And fold up to nothing, too.
Yeah.
Those fold up and go right in a little carrier.
Yep. Everything folds flat. When we was out there duck hunting, he was using it, and it done pretty good, though.
Speaking of the ducks, y'all went duck hunting?
We don't have ducks. We have pintails.
Yeah.
There's nothing else down there but pintails. We duck hunted Thursday morning, and of course you can only shoot one pintail in Mississippi. And by 6:45, we were pretty much twiddling our thumbs. We done had our limit of pintails, and that's all that was out there. I mean, there was 300 and 400 just lighting the decoys, but it was nothing else in there but pintails.
Man, that's tough right there.
It was
watch
hard
all
day.
those ducks come in and you can't shoot them.
But we did find some mallards. We went up to another place, and there was a couple of hundred out there. I think they were just roosting there. They wasn't feeding. It was just a roost spot. And we got a couple that morning, first thing. But once you shot at them a couple times, they were gone. Duck hunting's a little slow in Mississippi, like it always is.
Man, you know what showed up at my house? Specks. They're all in my backyard. I'm having to listen to them and watch them. The dogs want to go chase.
It is season, Malcolm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You need my pellet gun.
My neighbors would.
You're in the
like
county.
That. What do you think? Is there a rule against that?
No.
Unless it's what about your
neighbors? Long as you're
they just call the game warden on me, I guess.
As long as you're on your property. I guess you ain't shooting toward a house. I guess.
Oh, there's houses back here.
As long as your HOA don't have anything against it. Noise
I don't
ordinance.
think we have an HOA in
You
my
don't?
neighborhood.
Oh, you're good to go. You can just bust them right out the back door.
Just step out there and blast them.
Let the pellet gun go.
They'd probably come eat bread. No, they're definitely wild though. I mean, they've never been there in the 7 years we've lived there. They just showed up.
I didn't know. This is kind of off subject. Talking about specks being, they're good eating.
Yeah,
but
probably the best eating goose. Really.
What is the crane? We heard so many times.
Sandhills.
I didn't know it was a season for them.
That's the ribeye of the sky.
I want to do it. Like if everybody says that's better than a speck, we got to find us.
I don't think we have any in our. You got to go to Texas, don't you?
What was that circling like buzzards for 2 hours down there?
That's what sandhills. That's what Jay said they were.
Really?
What were we doing?
Cooking hog.
Cooking hog, and they were doing it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. They were circling the shop at the house.
You sure they wasn't buzzards?
No, they were making
noise.
Yeah.
They were going, I'm a sandhill. So, I mean, I figured it was
that's
sandhill.
What they say. That's exactly what they say, ain't it? Is that what the pintails were doing?
Yeah. I'm a pintail.
We heard some seagulls. We saw a bunch of seagulls, didn't we, Mikey? Jokers and holler.
Jamie, you got your 350 Legend dialed in yet?
Man, I think so, finally.
So you got one for Christmas.
Yeah, and it does not like the 150 grain. I had to step up to 180, and that I shot it, I guess it was Saturday. Me and Daddy was out there, and it's
100 yards.
His
100 yards, yeah.
His is so much different. Now, his is not a BCA. It's a Great Lakes.
Yeah, Great Lakes.
I think, which it's a mid-grade. It's a little bit more expensive than BCA, but, I mean, I like it. But the muzzle, not the muzzle brake. Well, no, yours did have a muzzle brake on it instead of a
flash suppressor.
Yeah, no, it had actual muzzle brake.
It's stupid loud.
Dude, you couldn't shoot that thing. I had earplugs on. It was hurting me. But I think the muzzle brake itself was affecting the trajectory because, like, once he took it off and put thread protector on it, started grouping.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably inch and a half group at 100 yards. I'm not a steady shot neither, so I mean, I was happy with it.
What scope did you put on it?
I got the Leopold 350 Legend stuff.
Okay.
The Freedom 350 or whatever they call it.
It's a good scope.
Everybody's getting 350s now. Heck, Miles done got him some for hogs, and
that's what I'm wanting to build one just to hog or and the coyote hunt with too. I mean, it might be a little, but at night though, you're gonna get the coyotes in closer anyway.
That's what
you have within 200 yards. So
I mean, that's what Darrin was saying about them guys that hog hunt. Most of them, if they do shoot a gun, they want 30-30 or 35. They don't want the 223 or fast. I mean, and that's what the 350 Legend and what's the other one? 450
Bushmaster.
They say that's a hog killing machine too.
I seen Remington. I don't know how new it is, but I just come up was Remington just come out with a straight wall cartridge that is, it's a 360 is what they're calling it. I think it's what it is, a 360 Buckmaster, a Buck something. But
Buck
I guess
Junkie.
it's like their competitor to the 350 Legend. But it's it's literally identical ballistics from what I could tell. Like I didn't see any like, oh, you got to get that over 350.
You got to buy a special right. I mean,
I hadn't looked into it. This guy was shooting it had a lever action. What he was shooting it out of, but apparently it's a fairly new round. But I don't know if it's supposed to if you'll have it in an AR platform. I'm sure you will because it's straight wall. It should run through AR-15, I would imagine. But
I was just curious, and I got mine with. I don't have a sling on it, nothing, but just the gun and scope. Put it on scales at 8 pounds. Then I got my 300 short mag out. Put it on scale and it's 8 pounds. So it's. I don't know.
I like them because they're short.
I don't know if that's what makes it short.
makes you
And
think
it feels. It makes it. I felt like it was heavier, going to be heavier, but it didn't. It was.
How do you put that whole box of bullets in there?
That's with the. That is with the full clip too.
It was 8 pounds with a full clip.
Yep, 8 on the dot.
And that's not bad.
No.
I like them just because you can make them so short. Getting in and out of them box stands, man, it's ideal.
That's, I mean, in and out of the side by side, climbing in the stand, recoil on it.
Now, Jamie's does kick more than
I
ours.
don't know. And this, I don't know. It's all new to me, I guess. I hadn't actually. I was supposed to. Me and Dad was going hunting yesterday, but it rained all morning, so we didn't go. But I hadn't shot a deer or carried actual hunting yet. But
Are you confident now to take?
oh
it?
yeah.
Which you're shooting the 180s.
Right, and I hadn't tried to bump back down to 150s since I put the thread protector on there.
I don't know. I think those guns, because they're such mass produced, the more you shoot them, the better they get. Like you just need to be shot. You
Need to
know?
be broke in.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably shot maybe a box and a half through it probably. But I went to Walmart yesterday and I think they was $40 a box at Walmart.
The hunting rounds are. I ordered. Can't remember where I think I ordered them from. Wholesale Hunter maybe is what I ordered them from. But I ordered a case of the 145 grains, and I think they were $12 a box. I got a case for like $120.
Dang, that ain't bad.
And
What tips on those?
They're just a full metal jacket.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
it ain't nothing like that. It's just something to have.
Yeah, I want to say
the whitetail round down at
Hunter's
Hunter's
Hollow.
Hollow, 34.
Yeah, 34.
Yeah, because
I
I
think
think
it was
that's what I paid for
$300 a
yours.
case. I think what
Yeah.
it was.
That sounds right.
Which still, I mean, ain't terrible. I mean,
No,
I pay $130 for $28, so
just for one box.
one box.
Yeah, that's a little high there.
Man, I remember buying a box for $18 for 30-06.
Yep.
Take my 300 short mag. They're
The more core
they're
locks.
$70 to $80 a box. It, and you can't find them.
We were buying federal premiums
That's right. We're big
for
dog
like
in there.
$18, $19, $20
Yeah.
a box up at Dav's Pawn Shop years ago.
Yep.
The day's over with. You can't buy 22s for nothing no more.
So finishing up deer season, guys. We're almost to the end. What we got? 2 weekends left, I guess.
So 2 weeks.
Is it just me, or it always seems like every year, like the second and third week, January, it's just like a lull? Like it's like,
I can tell you why. Because we're like me and Mikey the other day. We hunted the woods. Them deer are not coming out in food plots in the mornings. They're crossing them, but they're not stopping and eating. They're going straight to acorns right now.
That was why I had that on here. And Mikey, I think we put out a TikTok video
Yeah.
of all the turkeys out there. And, the turkeys were in the plots earlier. But now you see the turkeys and they're in the woods and they're like vacuum cleaners.
Yeah, that day when I made that video, they come out in the food plot first, but then they kind of migrated up in the woods and they cleaned off that whole hillside before they come off that hillside back in the food plot. They crossed over the food plot and went on the ridge on the right, and they cleaned that entire. I mean, we were talking about like 100 turkeys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In one flock, and they covered that whole. They didn't leave an acorn on that hill. They couldn't have. I mean, they stayed there for. I mean, that was from daylight to. I hunted till about 12:30 that day, maybe 1:30.
And they were out there all morning pretty much.
All freaking morning. They never left. It was almost aggravating sitting there listening to all them turkeys just squawking.
They better be here in
cackling
springs, all I say.
Well, everything in the
gonna be.
woods is moving, so
Yeah.
you couldn't see nothing else moving. And I'm looking at every turkey that's scratching, and
They'll be busted up. We'll be wishing we planted chufa.
yeah,
We may have to plant some next year just to see if it draws them in like that. But so this year so far, we've done a pretty good job on our goals of doe management. That was pretty much our thing. I mean, we knew that we hadn't just been seeing monster deer. We're trying to get our population ratio right, get some food out for the bucks to survive, and then let our bucks grow a little bit. So how do y'all feel like we've done? We think what are we up? 8 doe?
Me and Waylon are batting 0, ain't we?
I think we're on 9 does.
Yeah, are we on
both,
9?
on both properties? Me and you
Total.
figured it up the other day. We had 5 on one and 4 on the other one.
Is that right?
I think now we see more of the benefit from last year. You know, early in the year, we were thinking we didn't put a dent in them, but I think now, like, it hadn't been a time where I've seen 40 deer in a food plot. You know, we've kind of really got those numbers under control. And, I mean, I think
it depends on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you ran up on a group of...
That was a wad. It was 20-something deer in the freaking food plot at one time.
I just think this time of year they're grouped up. But as far as population, I think we've got good numbers. I mean, we could shoot a couple more doe.
I need to get one more, whether it be down there at the house. I got to get one for the freezer at the house.
I need a jerky doe.
Yeah.
Jamie, you got to get one.
I'm starving. I'm starving over here. I just need something to eat.
Sausages.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt to clip 2 more does off, one off each property, or 2 off each property.
I did send a message to old Drone Deer Recovery to get his take on what his services are and what it would take to get him down here.
Did he respond to you?
No, I just sent it like right before the podcast.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, that's another podcast and YouTube that people need to check out. Oh, no, I don't guess he does podcasts. It's just all YouTube, but that's pretty impressive what this guy's got going.
He done his own property. He said, "Oh man, our deer population is good." He done his. He's like, "Ooh, we are not good.
Yeah.
We got to get some does."
Oh, he said way too many deer. Period.
Yeah, he was thinking it was gonna be like 10 on one property or something. He had like 30. You know.
Well, that's our case. Like, it's hard to gauge when you only have, say, 150 acres on one property and 180 acres on the other property, and you got big neighbors. Well, the deer are going to be scattered across all of it, and they're not all going to stay on you.
You're still getting an average, even if you count them right then and there.
That's the best way to do it. The average of a square mile, I guess.
Our problem is, for me, every doe I see has a yearling with it.
They going to. You got to shoot them and the yearling.
No, I cannot do it.
Shoot both of them.
Finally, it was what day? Saturday. Me and Mikey went, and
Friday.
I randomly just went and climbed a tree where I'd seen some deer the previous weekend in the woods. Finally, had 2 mature does come out with no yearlings. Man, I couldn't get a shot to save my life on either one of them.
So, that was my next thing I wrote here. Wait, what's everybody's take on shooting a doe after breeding season? After the rut's over, there's some people that I've heard that's like, man, why would you want,
I'm
don't
guaranteed
shoot your does late? But what are y'all thinking on it?
It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee you're killing at least 2 deer, guaranteed.
And that's not a problem with me.
I mean, not on our property. It's not. With what we got. I mean, we're trying to manage the miles on the food plot anyway. You just saved yourself having to shoot 2 more next year. I mean, a doe's a doe, in my opinion. Like,
I see it as like we got a quota or idea what we want to take off the place. If you don't meet that by such and such weekend or Christmas or end, I mean, you kind of still got to finish out your deal.
You got to.
Yeah, you got to finish it because you're managing it on what's there right here, right now.
I don't think you're stopping next year's buck, personally. No. I think I'm like you, Mark. A doe's a doe.
And the thing about it is,
no guarantee that fawn's going to survive. No guarantee you're going to have food for it.
I'd rather shoot that deer. All right, say she is carrying. I'd rather shoot that deer and then next year not like say we didn't and regret it and be like, well, daggum, Because, I mean, if you're that, like last year, we were so overpopulated, the deer were not getting the nutrition they needed. So what outweighs the other, actual herd health or, all right, I killed a mama carrying one? I mean, it is what it is.
I'd rather shoot a grown doe with the yearling and shoot that big doe because I know now that yearling's going to have to stick around. It ain't going nowhere. I've always had that, and I don't know if it's true or not, but you give me the big doe come out, she's got 2 yearlings with them, great. I'm shooting that mama doe. I mean, I ain't saying they got spots in their nursing.
No. Still very nursing.
First,
got
first
milk on their lips.
Season. Yeah. But if they ain't got spots and they're already eating, if they're grazing, man, shoot that doe.
I like to see a group because it gives me an opportunity to measure out
how big that
doe is.
Yeah.
Which one is the dominant doe? Which one's the biggest doe? And I'm a bust her. I ain't gonna ask which ones are hers.
And the only way I ain't shooting a yearling, it better leave. Yeah. There's been times I ain't saying now. If I can tell it ain't a button buck, that joker's going down if we go numbers.
So I carried my wife. She went with me hunting last week, I guess it was. And I'm like, all right, I made up my mind. She said, you going to shoot something? We need some. I said, yeah, we'll shoot something. Man, 2 does. I'm like, oh, yeah. Next thing I know, here come 2 babies like kids.
You waited too long.
They played around for like 30 minutes chasing each other around, playing and field. And she said, hey, I don't see how I couldn't shoot one either. I'm like, exactly, I can't do it. I cannot do it.
I'm like Mikey up there. I'm thinking deer sausage, deer fried deer gravy, deer gumbo.
That's like that.
Strap.
That Doe
all
J
the stuff
killed.
I can do with that
Yeah,
thing.
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
That Doe J killed. I mean, we had, I think 3 come out that evening. And it was just like Mike said, you could tell which one was the older one. And I don't know what it is about it. Like, so for your opinion, when 3 come out, they all a different color shade. Like one of them's a little lighter. One of them's, of course, young. You can tell it's orange looking. But that dark black one, like the darkest color, are you assuming that's the oldest one? Because in my eye, like,
I've got to see them. I got to give them a chance to stand beside each other. Most of the time, I'm looking at their behavior. That young doe just going to bust out in the field. It ain't checking the field. It's going to go to eating. There's usually going to be one more behind it. It's going to do the same thing. That next one is going to be your big old doe because she's going to come out. She's going to watch what those are doing. She's going to look around, and then she's going to ease out with them and start feeding. And a lot of times they'll use them as a daggum human shield. Have you ever seen them do that? Yeah. Man, them jokers will ease up behind them. That's when you can really size them.
You see how she cares. Yeah, she don't care about them little ones.
Yeah, she don't care about them little ones at all. But they're going to be more, I guess, alert to me. I've seen the shades of color, but I just don't know if you can go by that.
I don't think you can, but I mean, I have seen some of the older does that's got, their hair color has changed a little bit. It may have a little more gray or white on them than what a younger one does. It's got that light brown color.
Tell you what, that nose size.
Yeah, I always look at the nose.
How long is that nose?
Mm-hmm.
How big is that, rear end where the waist is? I mean, that's where they start getting
childbearing.
They start getting bigger. I mean, they do.
Like,
but you're gonna we've had a thing going this year. See who could shoot the biggest doe or whatever. Now on our property, we're not seeing 200-pound does. We just ain't gonna see it in the hills where we are. We've killed. I think Mike, are you still leading the board 116?
116.
I mean, that's a big doe for where we are. You killed one that's like 112. I killed one that's 109.
Jay's was 108.
Yeah, we were all right in that range, and that's a healthy. Biggest mature does we're probably going to see, and I think their average weight, if you looked at them across the board, is probably about 75, 80. You got to really look for one that's that big.
It's hard to judge down there, especially if you're used to hunting like around our house up here in DeSoto County. I mean, we've got some pretty large deer up here, or you down in the Delta. It's not uncommon to see a doe down in that Delta hit 180 and go up to 200 pounds.
That's the average size down there.
Yeah, and they're a lot longer and a lot bigger. And then, like, with the first year I hunted with y'all, we came up here, like, every doe was little. And I was like, doggone, there ain't no big does here.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me to, like, all right, this is a mature one here. It's a good bit bigger than the rest of them. I had to kind of change my strategy on, or, what I was seeing and apply it to, that farm there, because the deer are just so much different up here in the hills than they are down in some of these other places where there's a lot of agriculture.
I mean, that's like Sam killed that deer at your house. I bet that doe probably went 130, 135. It's a big doe. But it's just different. Even though we're not 45 minutes apart, it's just different.
A lot more crop.
Different agriculture up here than it is where we're at.
And that really, what they're eating is the factor on how big they get.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're definitely bigger body does now than what it was 2 years ago down.
We are seeing a change to where, we've got more food plot for them.
They're a lot more healthier, filled out. Yeah. They're not so ribby like they were before.
With the fat on them. Yeah. You notice that cleaning them, Mark, how we're seeing a lot more of that thick fat.
That 10-point you killed, he was fat back. Yeah. He was covered.
We've only shot on our place 2 bucks this year. One was early season youth hunt, and then the one I killed, that's been the only bucks taken. So we hadn't really done anything to the buck population, but we're still seeing a bunch. Where have y'all been seeing deer?
If I see the big 6-point, I might get shunned, but I've only killed 1 6-point in my life, and this one here's a good deer.
I saw him the other day too. I didn't get a shot on him. I saw him.
It was the same. I believe he's going to probably be 17, 18 inches wide. I believe be close.
So now that the rut's over, Jamie, you said you hunted in the woods the other day. Mike, you've been hunting a little mixture of all.
Yeah.
Where do y'all think post-rut, late season January, where are the deer at now?
Woods.
Yeah.
You think so?
They've been hanging kind of close to the thickets, staying in the woods, just trying to. I think they're just trying to pick up those last acres, beat the turkeys to them, like we talked about that before, and those turkeys are just. Man, they're just eating it up. And I think they know that. They come in there and I think they see that the acorns are gone. Like yesterday we came here and they were here, and now they're not.
Yeah.
So they kind of change their pattern up. They know where the trees are.
So it was New Year's week, I guess. My wife was off work. I said, we went down there hunted. We hunted crossroad stand. We had one decent 8-point cross at daylight, and then the other 6 or 8 deer we seen was all the way to food plot in the woods eating acorns. They never come out in the food plot, and I mean you wasn't where you could get a shot at none of them, but that's where they all stayed. You could see them with binoculars just in the woods eating.
Well, that was 2 bucks that was on camera last night, was it not? Or night before last. That was grouped up.
Yeah.
Like, we're starting to see them to where they're wanting to group back up now, where I guess they're all on the let's feed now. Let's recover.
Well, that's true. That's what I've always seen this time of year. I pretty much change up. I don't like hunting the mornings this time of year.
Yeah.
You're not going to see them in the food plots, but if you go to the food plot, I guarantee you went out there this evening.
Yeah.
They are piled in. You got to hunt. You got to hunt evenings, and you need some food source.
Well, when we left Friday, like all the deer that I seen were in the woods, you know, and not very many. And I've hunted a couple of evenings, seen them in the food plots in the evening times. But when me and Jamie left Friday, I was headed out to Waterford.
Yeah.
Another camp.
Probably around 1 o'clock, probably.
Yeah. So we didn't see no deer in the food plots. And then on the way out there, like every little green plot that I passed
Had a deer in it.
had a freaking deer in it.
Yep. That's what they do. And I mean, it's going to be 3:30, 4 o'clock. They'll start hitting these green fields if you got them. Now, we did this winter hurt a lot of people's plots. And so it probably pushed them back by a week or so. But now, since we've had warmer weather, we've had some rain, those plots have recovered. I guarantee you, for the next 2 weeks, you need to be on a green plot.
Yeah.
In the evening.
In the evenings,
you
I'd
hang
be
up
hunting green
mornings.
plots.
Mornings, they're going back to bed, and you might catch them on the edge of bedding, but there's not much acorns left in the woods. And that was one of the things I wrote. Why do you think? Like, I've always heard or known people that they just quit deer hunting this time of year. And so why do y'all think people stop after, say, New Year's?
I say the reason I used to, or kind of still do, is we roll into something else. We roll into duck hunting, or Daddy always rolled into rabbit hunting.
You burn out.
Yes, you always roll into another thing, or
You killed all your deer.
you killed all your deer.
I was going to say, have you done cleaned up, you know, back then before, you know, we were managing, and you just shot whatever the hell came through there. I mean, I put 2 or 3 deer in the freezer. That was all I needed. Now I'm going to start duck hunting, rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, whatever.
Yeah. I think it's because a lot of people don't have, their own land or food plots to hunt over.
Yeah.
Oh, you take
If you don't have plots, you ain't gonna see many deer. You're gonna get discouraged, and you're gonna go find something else to hunt.
Yeah.
But if you got the plots or the land to switch over and change your strategy up where you want to see them and shoot them or see what you got, the plots are the place to be.
That, and we're lucky enough to have tons of government land, but man, it's getting where government land's hammered so hard between deer hunters and duck hunters. I mean, you
ain't gonna find a deer on government land around here right now. They've been shot at and chased, and
I mean, you look at the ducks.
Yeah.
They know what a blind is. It don't matter how good you got it brushed in. They ain't landing in front of it.
Yeah.
You can hang it up.
But
And
you wait, that last weekend
They'll
will
be
jam
here.
up. That'll be the best duck hunting weekend. And
I don't know
always
why
is.
they don't push duck hunting back.
They don't
Duck
want you-
season 1 month.
They don't want you to kill them. They want other people to kill them.
And we only got a limit of 1 pintail, but we could have killed, if we'd have had 100 people in the blind with us, we could have killed 100 pintails.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's odd, though, because pintails ain't supposed to come to decoys like that, are they, Mike?
No, I mean, they're one of the most leery ducks, and has been one of the hardest ones to kill in the past. But,
there wasn't nothing to it the other day.
But what I'm a little, puzzled why has there not been any shovelers to shoot at?
We
that's throw
seen
for me.
Yeah.
No shoveler.
2 or 3 over the past 2 or 3 hunts.
Yeah,
And
they used to be covered up with shovelers. You couldn't go. You'd have to stop killing them just to, get a chance to kill something else.
Now, another thing we've had of that when I was a kid duck hunting, we didn't ever see was widgeons. And we had several fly over. You hear them, we never got any to work, but I mean, you used to never see a widgeon. I never even heard one until just a couple of years ago.
That was the first duck I killed. I had to ask you. It was a widgeon.
They're pretty. They're a good one. But I'm probably going to slip over to Bahia and get my freezer stocked with some duck. I'm asking before the end of the year.
You got till March to do that.
So, talking about woods hunting, I manned up the other day. It was kind of cold, hunting my climbing stand.
No heater.
So, I'm sitting there, man. I'm still trying to get used to looking through glasses and looking through my scope.
Yeah.
So I sat there and, man, I done this about 4 times this year. Just get my binoculars and spend about 10 minutes scanning, and I see something. Anyway, so I'm in the climbing stand, take my glasses off, put them in my coat pocket, and I'm scanning my binoculars, looking around. And it takes a minute for my eyes to get used to going back to my glasses and binoculars. So I usually just close my eyes, put my glasses on, and they kind of adjust. Man, the other day, they would not adjust. I was like, man, I can't see for nothing. I kept on. I rubbed my eyes, and I hunted another hour and a half probably. Vision still wasn't 100%. Anyway, get through hunting. We get back to camp. Me and Mike standing. Mike looked at me like, damn. I'm like, what? I've been knocked out one of my lenses in my glass. That's why I couldn't see. I only had one lens in.
Hell, that's why Jamie keeps seeing a big one and a little one.
Yeah. I was like, man, I took them off, and I only had one lens in.
Where's your lens at?
It was in my coat pocket.
You got lucky. It was in there. Did you pop it back in?
Yeah, popped it back in, put a new screw in my
You knew something
glasses.
wasn't right, huh?
Man,
I didn't recognize
Rub that eye
We're
right
gonna-
through that glass.
Between him and Waylon and their glasses
Oh,
hunting.
yeah. Waylon sees two things every time he goes, though.
It just shoots the middle one.
No, Mike made me
You
feel
thought something was wrong, huh?
yeah, Mike made me feel pretty dumb there for a minute.
I have not. I mean, my eyes, I'm getting old. My eyes suck now. But like if I go from glasses to looking through the scale, it takes me a minute.
It does. It takes
I don't know what it is.
your eyes can't adjust that quick.
I don't know what it is. I can't shoot the scope on my glasses. I have to wear contacts.
You know, my 300 I can, and that 350 Legend, I don't know if I'm different view, but I can't see as good with it.
It's like when I cheek my rifle, it moves my glasses or something, and then
Yeah.
Then it's all
weird looking through it. Yeah.
Will won't shoot with his glasses on at all.
a shotgun. I like rabbit hunting the other day. I always wear my glasses, but I do admit with the deer hunting and a gun, most time I'll take them off, put them on my hat if I see a deer. But until I see that deer, I can see so much better in my glasses. I don't never take them off. I'm learning.
So one thing I've noticed this week, I kind of watched the hunting forums and stuff like that on Facebook and different places. People are starting to see early sheds.
Yeah.
What have y'all ever had any experience with that, or what causes it? Why people are starting to find sheds before?
I've shot one that was an 8-point and go out there and pick it up, and I shot a doe.
Yeah, Mark, we was hunting down the Delta.
Disappeared.
And there was almost 4 or 5 deer, I guess, come out, and they were running wide open. And Mark was, I don't know if you had to, y'all don't know if you had to drive a license.
Yeah, I
You
was
might
because I
have.
skipped school that day. I had to drive back to school.
And he shot that deer and dirt rolled it. Well, in the meantime, Thomas, he killed a deer also, and go up there to Mark's, and I said, Mark, you done shot a doe. Anyway, when he hit the ground, knocked both horns off, and then Thomas's, when we grabbed it, we drug it to the truck, and when I threw it in the truck, the horn stayed in my hand, and so Mark's deer and Thomas both.
And it was probably 2 weeks before season. It was mid to late January.
Yeah.
It was about this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what causes that?
I watched a video on it, and the guy said that it depended on how much rainfall we had. If it was now I don't know how true this is. I'm talking about what this guy said.
Well, that was the year it flooded.
Yeah, if the deer didn't if it was a dry summer, dry spring, or dry deer season, whatever, their horns would come off early. I don't know if that's true.
Well, you blew the horns off that one last year.
Yeah, he dropped 2. That was like last weekend. The very last weekend. That
I
was
always kind of
close.
thought
They
it was
dropped.
like testosterone levels
could
or
be.
something.
See-
like as they went out of rut.
See, I'm thinking more nutrients. Like
I didn't know if they had a hard rut. They were just weak. They couldn't hold them no more. That's
I need to look into
nutrient.
that. What
That's probably,
determines or what causes
yeah, what could cause it?
deer to
Because
come off early?
I mean, I guess it's happening. I don't think we've seen any signs of it on our place yet.
Not yet.
We hadn't found any, but that was my next thing. So that's something that we did last year, first time really on our place, was start shed hunting. When do y'all think it'd be the right time to even start looking around?
Like
and
me,
seeing?
like last Saturday, I guess it was. No, Friday. Thursday. No, Thursday. Me and you went deer hunting Friday, so it's been Thursday. Thursday, I went rabbit hunting, and the whole time I'm rabbit hunting, that's what I'm looking for, too. If I'm just like, dogs bumping around, I'm just killing time walking. That's what I look for, sheds.
Have you found many rabbit hunting?
Yeah.
Really?
I can't wait. I'm almost excited about hunting sheds this year as I am hunting.
Oh, I done told Darrin they'll be at the island in about another 2 weeks probably. You'll be good to go, and I'm gonna carry my dog over there. And
It says right here, it says, this is kind of the going average of answers I've seen, but it says, if your area has noticeably early rut in the previous fall, a buck's testosterone will decrease earlier, therefore resulting in them to shed their antlers earlier.
So I don't think we've had an early rut. I mean,
No, they were still chasing what that buck you seen. Was he chasing the doe? Or
No, he was actually by himself eating acorns.
Oh,
now he was in the same area milling around that them does were 30 minutes ago, and he left out like going the same way, exact same trail he was on.
Most of the time we found those last year, I think we started finding them about the first or second week of February, and then there was one week like every field that we pulled up in, there would be a set or a one or a, And I think that was about mid-February.
That'd be some good
I
content.
think it was. I was gone mid-February, and it was right before March. I think, like right towards the end. I think is when it was.
The week y'all was out of town is when I found the ones in the pine thicket when me and Gus went down there.
Because
So
me
it
and
was that next week we started. Yeah.
me and my daughter went down there the week before, and we found them in Plantation, and then you found them. But I was
So anytime in the month of February, really.
Yeah.
So I'm wanting to try this. A lady was talking about that, and they make glasses that people use to find them whatever the mushrooms people eat all the time.
Morels.
And these glasses pick up the color of the horns too. And she showed you how much easier it is to find horns out in the leaves with these glasses.
I've never heard of that.
I worked with Gus some this weekend. I got his old training antler out and
Did
flew
you?
with him a little bit. That's some stinking junk. Good Lord.
I think
Ain't no antler smelling that
I
bad.
think you got. I got that you got tail scent because that ain't an antler.
Man, it's bad.
It is bad.
Well, last week we talked before we got out of here. We talked about mine and Mikey's summer sausage. I figured today we go over how we made summer sausage. First off, what's the best summer sausage y'all ever had? Y'all, you know,
As
is there
far
anything
as
that stands
deer
out?
summer sausage,
Yeah. But is there any that just stands out to you where you got it or
most
what was so
of them.
good?
So my buddy Hunter, him and his dad make some, and it's
Theirs
probably
pretty good.
It's probably one of the better ones that I've had. Most of the ones I've got that's either from processors that really didn't quite know what they're doing, or something. I've had them two ways: either they're so waxy that
That's
it's
what I
terrible,
like, yeah.
or it's watery. I guess like you putting deer on ice and ice water, and that comes out after they process sausage. But that y'all made, it's
That was
it's,
good.
it's right there with them.
We got some from Vans that time, wasn't it? Was it deer sauce we got?
Yeah, I think we did. That was
It was-
decent. The best I ever
good.
had came from up Paris, Tennessee. And I think it was some Amish folks or something that
Probably.
made it up there. Now, I always said that was the best venison summer sausage I ever had until me and Mikey got
Yeah.
it. So, for our first go, it was really good.
No, it was good. And I didn't eat it after it aged, didn't you? I ate it like what y'all
Yeah.
did it. Y'all did it that Friday, and I come down that Saturday,
Yeah.
and it was real good.
What you cut up last weekend was good.
Yeah.
It was real good.
I do think it needs to sit.
I think aging it, it needs a week
Yeah.
to develop flavor.
It's almost like canning pickles. Like you don't eat them
Yeah.
like as soon as you get through. You give them about a week or so.
Because it was real mild tasting after
Yeah.
24 hours in the fridge.
Yeah, it tastes pretty much like just deer meat, ground deer meat and cheese.
Yeah, or bologna or something
Yeah.
like that. It had a real neutral flavor. It didn't have, but as it went on, you got the flavors of the different seasonings in it. We didn't put citric acid or mustard seed in it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing we'll be changing on this next.
I'd like to
go.
we don't have to do a full run, but at least a partial run with that in there and see how that comes
What
out.
does the citric acid do as far as
Gives it that wang.
That
that
tang.
little tart
So,
taste?
yeah, summer sausage should have a little bit
Yeah.
of a sourness almost.
Yeah.
And that's what it does. Or the mustard seed does the same
Yeah.
thing. But so we got to use let's see, what we use, a grinder.
Use the grinder, the mixer, the stuffer.
Yeah, those are all from Meet Your Maker. If y'all
Yeah.
hadn't seen those, they are bad to the bone.
That grinder, I don't care. I think you could put I think you could put a whole deer in that thing and it grind.
I've always used we've always had the
limb
or Bass Pros, and they don't hold a candle to those Meet Your
No.
Maker.
Jay's finna order one because he had a limb and it quit on him this weekend making his, and he had to borrow somebody's. But he's like, yeah, he said, show me which one y'all got, because he's seen it. He's like, that's a freaking hoss.
It is. It is.
And it
No.
does make a big difference if you got your meat that's dry and chilled versus the old iced down cooler
Yeah,
where
it's-
it's wet and slimy. It ain't. I don't care.
Oh,
if
yeah.
it gums up too bad.
See, well, that's what we done. I mean, we had the deer in the freezer. Malcolm pulled it out. We went hunting that morning. So by the time we got there, it was still kind of had ice on it, but you could get it apart.
3/4. I'd say it's 3/4 thawed
Yeah,
with some ice. It wasn't like super pliable.
yeah,
You want it that way, super cold.
yeah. Some pieces were almost, they were still kind of hard. Some of those that was on the inner
Yeah.
side, but the outside was, they were still cold. And
Mhm.
that Meet Your Maker thing. I don't know if it's just because of the horsepower or what. I couldn't keep up with it. Like I was
Oh,
doing the
okay.
cat paw method, like the dude on.
Yeah.
wasn't it?
So we did a 25-pound batch is about what our recipe was.
Yeah.
20 pounds of lean deer, cut up and cubed. We cubed it. What do you think? 2 by 2s,
Yeah,
Maybe?
probably two. Yeah, some
I
of
would say.
Yeah,
And then we mixed 5 pounds of fat. And you want to use pork fat. Don't use beef fat. Use pork fat when you're making your sausage.
So when you're saying pork fat, you're buying like a
This-
Boston butt, or you're buying like fat.
well, we had fat because my mom and
Yeah.
dad had slaughtered the hog.
That's a lot of times hard to source.
Yeah.
though.
There, if you can find a local meat processor, somebody that'll sell you fat. If you can't, you can use a butt.
Yeah.
You can cut up butts. I mean, it's going to be a little leaner. You might want to, but it'll be fine. It has some fat. You just want some fat content to it. But 20 pounds dairy, 5 pounds pork fat, or I do a butt like that. We mix it up. We added our seasoning to that, the chunks in a big tub, and then that's when you ran it through grinder.
Ran it through the big plate first, and got it like a coarse grind, and then ran it back through on a finer grind.
That's it.
That helps mix everything together.
Oh, I think it makes. We had a lot of people comment say, you don't have to do that.
Oh yeah, you do.
But man, that time we done them burgers, that is the best consistency I've ever had.
Texture's so much better.
And yeah, it does take a little bit more time, and it is harder to run that second grind because you have to rake it in there. Like
I don't that too bad. Shoot, I'm talking about 15 minutes.
You ain't
we ground both. We ground 25 pounds of meat twice in 15 minutes.
We need to make us a funnel to where you just.
It needs a bigger hole.
Yeah, it needs a bigger hole.
You'd stick your arm in it. Down in it.
You'd stick your arm in it. It'd be dangerous.
As fast as I could pull them little pieces back there, it would spit it out the other end, and I was like, doggone, and it was out.
It don't bog it down or change it.
No,
it never misses a beat.
So we ground everything once. Then we put it in the meat mixer, and all the meat mixer is this big tub with like a paddle in it, offset blades, and you turn it. Well, it has to mix.
You have to add your water too.
Well, we added cure and the water, and this is where we probably should have added our citric acid or our mustard seed. We will next time.
Now, you did say y'all took the grinder and hooked it to the mixer, correct?
We did with the Meet Your Maker one. Now, if you don't have one, you got to do the old fashioned.
Yeah.
Well, when I've done it before, all I've ever done is hand mix. I didn't have a meat mixer. And
you don't. It's hard to mix well with your hand.
It's hard.
Well, the fat starts. You start getting the fat hot, and it starts sticking to you and your gloves, and
so that mixer. It hooks. You can't put the grinder motor on it.
You take off the handle.
Just take you take the front end off, and then just pull it.
Slides right up.
Slides right up. It slides right on the shaft.
Yeah. You put it on it, and you can go one way. We went one way 4 minutes, and then reversed it for 4 minutes. But we added 32 ounces of water because you're trying to get that protein extracted from the meat.
It changed everything.
It changes it. It mixes it perfect. Then after we did that, we just dump it right out of the meat mixer, and that's when we can put, if you want to put jalapeno, cheese, whatever. We did like a half and half batch. We wanted to try just the seasoning plain with nothing but, the cure and the seasoning. Then we did jalapenos and cheese, and I think we added about a pound of high temp cheese. It'd be a 12.5 pound batch, I guess. And then we added probably about 3 ounces of dried jalapeno, and you hand mix all that in.
We didn't have to hand mix it. We probably, if we was going to do a whole jalapeno and chease run, you probably could have thrown it in the mixer and let it run around for
would have been fine.
A minute and would have been fine. But we were splitting the recipe. So
what y'all did was very, very consistent. Each slice was like pretty much equal amount. Yeah, it was
not over.
I was more impressed with the texture.
Yeah,
it was just like you was to go to Walmart and buy Hillshire Farms summer sausage. It was that texture.
Yep.
That's the hardest part to get when it comes to summer sausage.
But you can't use fresh jalapenos
I don't know. Every recipe I said use the dehydrated, but I think I have seen people use.
It would probably be something to do with it. Cook so much moisture out, it would make them
probably
soggy.
Make it
soggy.
Wet. Yeah. Maybe that's why when the ones you had were as wet consistency had.
And see, I could have used a little bit more spice on those. So like
hotter.
Yeah, like a little spicier sausage. I don't know. Can you just add like dried red pepper flakes to that?
Oh yeah,
like you would the jalapeno.
Whatever you want it. Mm-hmm. You could change up the recipe. Like some people use those kits. Like what's the one Randy said he uses?
Oh man.
Backwoods, maybe?
Backwoods is what Jay brought down.
Yeah. High Country,
maybe. The High Country, I think Sportsman Warehouse, Bass Pro sells the kit.
There's all different ones, but the process is what makes it, the texture turn out. I mean, all that is the seasoning.
And y'all use the stuffer too, correct?
And after you get it all mixed and get your cheese or whatever incorporated, you put it in the stuffer. Now, you take those casings of summer sausages, fibrous casings, you soak them in water. They need to soak probably the whole time. That's the first thing we did before we started. Put them in water just to get them reconstituted a little bit. Feed them on the stuffer tube, and then you just kind of hold it tight on one. Now, that was one thing. It's kind of hard to do if you don't have that stuffer like bolted down or clamped down to a table.
It's a pretty stout press on it.
Oh yeah, it's not super stout.
Oh, it takes
like one person.
You're pressing. What, 5? No, it's more than that.
That's
it's
a 25-pound stuff.
15 pounds of meat, and you're pressing all the air out of that at one every
crank,
time you
yeah.
make a crank.
Yeah. So you're having to put a hand on it and then one arm crank it and the other person's putting a hand on the base and holding the
Does that
firm on the
have
sausage.
I didn't pay that close attention. Does that have like a bleeder valve for the air?
It
Yeah,
does,
yeah,
on
yeah.
top.
It pushes the air out. So
Yeah.
you get it. I mean, you may waste, I don't know, one little
Few
half,
ounces,
3/4 tube
yeah.
of it because you just can't get it all
Yeah.
in there. But, I mean, it was easier than I anticipated it being stuff in the sausage.
Where do you get your casings at?
You can buy them at
Same with
Academy,
kit.
Bass Pro. The kit that we had them.
And so you don't
We got them from Townsend Supply, the ones that make some of the seasonings. And
and
stuff
like
for us.
Jay with Outlaw, he doesn't use a casing. And that
Yeah, I saw-
Backwoods has the recipe to where it's casing-less, I guess you'd say. And you just kind of roll them out in loaves. And they're not uniform like summer sausage, but they're pretty dang good.
It looks like summer sausage meatloaf to
Yeah.
me. You do that.
And you cook it a lot hotter and faster than what you would that.
Yeah. So with ours, once we got them cased,
You had to soak them for
that was
a
at
few
the end.
minutes. You had to soak those casings.
Yeah, I mean, it says an hour,
But,
but you got to get them wet so they don't
Yeah.
bust. That lets you squeeze the water out, get any air out. But you want to keep it when you're cranking it, stuffing it. You want to keep a tight grip because you don't want air pockets in it.
Yeah.
That was a little. I mean, we figured that out.
You got to have a pretty good hand grip to hold on to that thing.
Y'all,
Then you just tie a butcher string around the
yeah,
end.
y'all do that. I don't know if y'all did that or
Yeah.
did hog rings or whatever.
We just did the butcher twine, and then we put them on the smoker, and you could cook them in the smoker or the oven. That was one thing that we didn't really. Our smokers didn't go down low enough because you really want to do like 140, 160, and then like 180 till they're done. Well, ours would only go like 185.
Yeah.
So we kind of fluctuated right there, but we put a probe in it and let that dude go. And I want to say it took 5 hours on the pellet grill, and we cooked it on the Gorilla pellet grill.
The one good thing about doing it that way, we didn't have to stay there. We actually got to go eat Mexican and come back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we didn't know how long it was going to take, but it took 5 hours, about 185. So if you stepped it up, it's probably going to take you longer. I'd say 8 hours.
Yeah.
So
if
why
you
would you do the 2 different temps
So
or 3 different
The
temps?
deal is you don't want to render fat. Summer sausage is supposed to have flaky fat in it. If you cook it too hot, it's going to melt that
Melt it
fat.
out.
Yeah.
And if you've ever had greasy summer sausage, like you cut it and all the fat and grease is on the
On the
outside,
outside ring.
and it's dry on the inside, they cooked
That's
it too
why.
hot. You got to cook it slow, and so they step it up because you only have to take it to like 160. It's going to carry over to 165. It's got to get to 165 to be safe, stable. So once you get it to 160, it'll carry over. We dumped it immediately in an ice bath for like 15 minutes. I think was that long?
I think it may have been a little longer than that.
Wasn't long, but you're trying to drop the core temperature by half
Yeah.
once you get it to 165, and you chill it out. You take it out, wipe the outside off with paper towel, and stick it in the refrigerator and let it sit for a week.
So we got
Or I
some,
mean, you can let it sit 24 hours, but the flavor's better.
We still got some
back.
back in
that's
the
what I say. We
refrigerator?
got some back.
We got some
in
at camp. I think there's 2 sticks left.
Yeah. It
It
makes
made-
a lot.
11 sticks
Yeah, it was 10 or 11. I think we had 10
and a half.
full sticks and then like a half or
Yeah.
3/4 of a stick that we made.
Yeah. Well, we got more deer cut up. We got more fat ready. All we got to do is go make it. So
And so going back to the fat, we got that new fat that we got from that farm down there in Como.
yeah.
That's just pure fat back. And I got thinking too, with pork bellies becoming more available, uncured pork bellies, like
You could-
Kroger's got a whole locker full of them right
You
now.
could definitely use those.
That would do better than a butt,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But you get too much meat in it.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Actually,
Costco's got pork bellies. Sam's starting to carry
I'd
them.
probably throw them in the freezer and get them about half frozen.
Mm.
When they
cube 'em
grind
and freeze
better.
them.
Well, the fat, that's what, once it goes down those moving parts, once it gets warm, just from the friction,
Just stick to everything.
It'll get slimy and then it starts not, wanting to stay
That's
in
what
there.
that one guy showed a video. He took all his grinder parts, put them in the freezer,
That's what-
and got them cold.
I've always done that, or when we make sausage at home. That's another good thing. During deer season, it's great to do this out in your, skidded
open
shed
air,
or
yeah.
outside or wherever because it's cold and everything stays cold. The colder you can keep it, the better it is.
That's what my buddy Michael Lehman, he killed a doe and he ground it up. And his first time he dry aged it for, I think he said 3 days in the refrigerator. He's like, man, it was like,
Oh, it's way.
he said just cutting the back strap up and grinding everything. He said it was just totally different than what it was if you, the old school way of throwing it in the cooler.
I want to walk in where we can do that so bad. That's going to be next.
We'll get one this year.
That way we can hang them.
Man, we'll have so much crap hanging down there.
Just hang it all.
It'll be January.
Can't let it. Yeah, you can't let it hang from November to January.
No, but 4 days is good though.
Yeah,
I thought once
one weekend to the next.
They said 5 to 7 is like
Ideal.
it's like
Really?
that's where you get the most. I guess the breakdown comes in the best. I guess.
Well, we're gonna find out on that.
We'll do some individual cuts.
Y'all check out the Meet Your Maker machinery and equipment for processing. That stuff's bad to the bone. I'm sold on it.
Yeah.
It's commercial quality for residential use, like easily.
That's
I mean,
right.
it's
Every
nice.
camp should have every.
And like on the grinder, we actually got the smaller version, and it's
plenty.
I mean, for the average guy, there's 2 deer, 3 deer a year. I mean, that's something. It don't cut no slack neither.
Oh man, I don't know how many deer you grind up in a day on it. You get tired of grinding them up.
I think it freaking work.
We'll have to get Jay to build us a funnel for it to where it'll just dump it in there and go.
Just put it and go.
Yeah, we'll see what it's made of.
I mean, you can put it in there as fast as it. I mean, it don't.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
The little tray on top is like you had to load from your. We were loading from our meat tub, and I was picking it up by double handful, setting it in there, and then I was petting it in as fast as I could get it petted in there.
You can't keep up with the grinder's faster than you are.
Yeah, you need if it don't really need a funnel. It just needs something a way to keep your meat closer to it, where you can just push from it. That'd be the ideal.
Yeah.
That'd be the perfect thing.
We'll be doing a warranty claim in a couple months. We
burn it up. See what we can grind.
Hey, we're gonna put it to the test.
Well, Mark, that about does us for today. You want to take us out?
Yeah, man. Y'all got any questions? Y'all always welcome to shoot us a message. Y'all check out the TikToks, of course, on all the platforms. We try to release some content as much as we can. And do not forget about the swag on the website. We got beanies, hoodies, you name it. We're working on some new stuff. Should be coming out shortly, but we appreciate y'all listening. If y'all got any questions, let us know.
Well, that does us for today at Buck Junkies. We'll be back next week to talk about some hunting. We gone.